Sean Terry, a wide receiver, decommitted. The significance.
Yeah, so this was kind of a deal where he visited Missouri in the spring, which kind of was kept under wraps, but in today's age, it's hard to do anything and have it be kept under wraps. There's just so much media out there with sources and everything. So that happened, and I was told that was kind of patched up and everything was good there from a Notre Dame standpoint. But Terry kept looking. Notre Dame's looking at more receivers. This was kind of just a good, clean breakup. So Terry decommitted, 5'10", 165 pounds, slot receiver from Ironton, Ohio, 3-star across the board. A solid player. He could have done well at Notre Dame. So I don't want to look, Darren, when this kid commits, what do guys like me say? Great pickup for Notre Dame. Nice player. I don't want to say that on the way out, like, Notre Dame's better without him. Like, that's so we're just full of crap if we do that. So he's a good player, but yeah, Notre Dame's going to be fine without him. They have other receivers they're recruiting. So they got two commits. Jerome Bettis Jr., a bigger outside receiver. Elijah Burris, who I think can play field. He could play slot. Really liked what he did at Irish Invasion Sunday. Ran a good 40 time, like in the high 4.5s, low 4.6s. He was solid. And then the Irish are bringing up 4 class of 2025 wide receivers for official visits this month. And they could even offer another guy or two. So I think Notre Dame feels comfortable with where the board is at in the 2025 class. It could be outstanding if they're able to land a couple top targets. But I just, of that group of 4, Darren, and we'll talk about the 4 here in a minute, they got to land at least one. At least one. Because if you land one, then you can go into the fall, see what about maybe taking a 4th. But they could take up to 5 in this class if they hit on 3 of the 4. Like, they have options. Darren, Notre Dame has 21 commitments in the 2025 class. There are, at the various positions, you kind of know what to expect. At safety, there's 2 guys. Land one of the 2. Got it. Likely that's going to happen, in my opinion. Linebacker, there's a couple guys. Probably land one of the 2. Receiver is the biggest kind of variables of how many they could take. This could go into the season. It's more uncertain. I asked a source this morning on Notre Dame's receiver board, like, what do you think is the most likely scenario? I got the answer. I have no idea. That's kind of where we're at with Notre Dame receiver recruiting. But again, from what I gather, the staff feels like comfortable and optimistic about where things are going into these official visits that really get going this time next week.
Mike, with Terry decommitting, and as you put it, the Irish are in search of high-end wide receivers in this particular class, I would imagine that possibly one of the solutions might be a kid from the state of Indiana. They just offered a young man from Fishers High School.
Yeah, so you had a lot of different moving parts here. One of the receivers, and I reported this news first at Blue and Gold earlier on Tuesday, my Gold Standard article, one of the receivers we've been talking about has come off the board. You had Terry decommit. You get a lot of different moving parts here. So it was wise for the Irish to go ahead and offer John Anthony Hall, who I know has been doing outstanding in track and field in the spring. Notre Dame went ahead and offered him, I believe it was Thursday night, 6'1", 170 pounds, 4-star prospect, the number 304 overall prospect, number 44 wide receiver, 24/7 Sports season has a top 100 prospect overall. So he's on the board. Things are moving quickly. We learned about the offer, and then he's setting up an official visit for the Irish right away. He'll be on campus midweek visits June 11th. So that is certainly notable. And that same midweek visit slot, Notre Dame will host Dylan Robinson from California, another more recent offer. I think it was a couple weeks ago, the Irish extended an offer to him. And then you have, like a Derek Meadows from Vegas. Notre Dame's been recruiting him for a while. Tanuk Hines from Houston. those guys both be on campus the weekend of June 14th, which is the same weekend that Deuce Knight will be on campus, as well as Jerome Bettis and Elijah Burris, who committed to the Irish. So that's kind of where things stand on the receiver board. If you made me guess right now, I actually think that Notre Dame is in a really good spot for all of them. It looks like Bama, Notre Dame for Derek Meadows, the elite receiver, again, from Vegas. Dylan Robinson, I think the Irish are have as good a chance as anybody right now. Don't have a super strong sense in that recruitment. We just haven't known about him as long as some of these other guys. John Anthony Hall, it's an in-state kid. You would like Notre Dame there. And then Tanook Hines from Houston. I talked to a source last night who feels that Notre Dame leads there going into his OV here shortly. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying like Notre Dame kind of feels comfortable with where things are at on their receiver board.
Well, Mike, while you were coming back and forth between home and South Bend, any opportunity to work on stories that Irish fans will find in the upcoming Blue and Gold yearbook?
Yeah, actually, before Deuce went to the Irish Invasion, he was at the On 3 Elite Series in Nashville, which I was at. So I got to talk to him. I transcribed the interview today. It's about 12 minutes. So full article there. And I'm not putting that online until the football preview goes out. So really good stuff from Deuce Knight. We talked about some of the receivers that he's after. We talked about his time working with Riley Leonard and those guys in Fairhope, Alabama, which was a really neat discussion to have. So, yeah, really neat football recruiting articles and just so much more in the football preview. So bluegoldonline.com is the way to purchase that magazine, and we're still in pre-orders for the next couple days. So go to bluegoldonline.com and grab your copy. Again, there's some really good, feature stories, exclusive interviews, player opponent previews, recruiting information. 160 pages, Darren, full glossy. We got to make sure we get you a copy and you can read it and you can talk about it on the air yourself because it really is good stuff.
I'm looking forward to it. Always a great publication for fans to read and also, I think, keep, because you can look back years from now to the season and see how things panned out.